Welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Green. When we last left off, we went back and fought Khan on Route 22. We collected some free balls, and we got brilliantly trolled by a Nidoran. So now it's time to finally take on the gym. Previous victors, Khan. He has the badge. When we met him on Route 22, he kind of made fun of me and said I probably don't even have a single gym badge. Well, of course I didn't, because if I did, he wouldn't be there anymore. Yeah, if you go on Route 22 after beating the gym, your rival won't be there. So this is your last chance to do that battle. You're 10,000 light years too early to challenge Takeshi. This is one of the more famous lines in the game. It's actually a reference to a Japanese saying, which is, well, you're 10,000 years too early, but he messes up the line and says, well, light years, which, as he mentions at the end of the battle, measures time and not distance. This was also referenced in Pokemon The Origin, which is a fantastic anime. Even if you don't like the regular Pokemon anime, I highly recommend checking out The Origin. It has nothing to do with the main Pokemon anime. Why am I using Tackle? I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, The Origin has a bunch of nice little references like that. It also has a reference to that white hand thing in Shion Town, where you talk to that little girl and she's like, or I don't actually know if it's a boy or a girl, but it's kind of, I see her, I don't know what she looks like in the anime, I don't really remember, and I don't really remember what she looks like in the, in Fire Red and Leaf Green either. So I just kind of see the kid as the crude Generation 1 sprite, where it's kind of hard to tell the gender. But yeah, you talk to this kid and they say like, do you believe in ghosts? And you know, if you answer no, she's like, you're right, that white hand on your shoulder, there's no way it's real. And in Pokemon The Origin, they actually did animate a little white hand on Red's shoulder. It's kind of hard to see. It's a nice little Easter egg that they put in. Okay, Nidoran grew to level 8 and learned Horn Attack. And one more attack that should do the trick. Is it super effective? And I'm growing to level 16, and that means Fushigidana is about to evolve. And we have defeated our first gym leader, Takeshi, and he's going to give me the gray badge. Now, the badge names in Japanese in Generation 1 are all named after colors. I've seen people say that the Japanese gym badge names are uncreative, which I don't really think they got the point, because all the towns in Generation 1 are named after colors, and if you're playing with the Super Game Boy palettes, the game's color palette changes depending on which city you're in, and the names of the towns reflect that. And in the Japanese version, the badge names also do that, and in the English version they kind of don't. And in the English version, they're kind of just references to, you know, the type that you fight, which is, it's not really worse, but yeah, it doesn't really play off the game's theming all that much. So I prefer the Japanese names. By the way, I mentioned Pokemon The Origin earlier. Something else that's explained in that anime is why gym leaders get progressively harder as you go on. Like, why is it that the gym leaders that happen to be the ones that are near your hometown, that are the first ones that you fight, just so happen to be the easiest ones? And in The Origin, they explain that these gym leaders do in fact have stronger Pokemon, they just don't use them, and they decide on what Pokemon to use based on how many badges the challenger already has. Although that still doesn't explain why even regular trainers like this last year get progressively harder. But hey, it's a video game. What do you expect? There's one thing I really should have mentioned in the first episode of the series, and it's a glitch exclusive to the Japanese version where if you catch any well, you can't catch any Pokemon because you don't have any balls yet, but if you evolve your starter before you deliver the parcel to Professor Orchid, the game thinks that you have more than one Pokemon registered as caught, and it won't trigger the cutscene of the professor giving you the bestiary. And, you know, you can get stuck that way. Of course, you would have to grind a lot on Route 1 in order for that to happen, but yeah, it's a thing that was in the Japanese version and it was fixed in the international releases. Although it is still possible technically in the international version of Yellow, although you can't evolve your starter in Yellow, so the only way you'd be able to trigger that is if you used some sort of Game Shark code or something to catch a Pokemon early. So with this last defeated, I don't think there's anything down there, is there? Nope, thought so. Okay, so I'm just gonna go continue on this route. Okay, this guy right here. He says he met me in Tokiwa Forest. Now, in Fire Red and Leaf Green, they gave all the trainers names, of course, and this guy's name, both in Japanese and in English, is not the same as any trainer in Tokiwa Forest. Now, the reason for that is that, well, it's never specifically stated that this guy fights you in Tokiwa Forest. He may be the guy who just stands there at the entrance of the dungeon and says like, hey, I'm waiting for my friends, or whatever he says, or some other NPC that you don't necessarily talk to. In the English version, the dialogue after you fight him says that, well, he says, I lost again, implying that you've already fought this guy before. But that's a translation error. He never says that in Japanese. He only says that he lost, never that he lost again. And this is a detail I see misreported constantly, even on Bulbapedia. It says, I think on the trivia for this route, that there is an inconsistency here with Fire Red and Leaf Green, not mentioning that that's only a translation thing. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. It's only in the English version that this is a problem at all. There we go. Kuyashi kedo maketa. That basically means like, it's frustrating, but I lost. So that's one character on this route with awkwardly localized dialogue taken out of the way. There's more where that came from, and I'm pretty sure you know what I'm referring to. But yeah, for now, I'm just gonna go and heal at the Pokemon Center. There we go, my Pokemon are fighting fit again. So, now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Once I go back on this route, change the color, past this girl, past this guy. Okay, here he is. Let's get this out of the way. I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear. One of the most famous, or perhaps the most famous line in the entire game. And here's why this line actually makes sense in Japanese. It's kind of like one of those, it's kind of like the I am error guy from Zelda 2, where the line itself was translated properly, but the context wasn't. This guy says the same thing in Japanese as he does in English. I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear. But the context that's missing in the English version is his trainer class is it literally translates to shorts brat, while the English version localized it to youngster. So yeah, the reason this guy talks about his shorts is because that's the defining feature of this trainer class, and that's the game's way of introducing this trainer class to the player, because this is the first area where they appear in. And that's also the reason why many other youngsters in other Pokemon games talk about their shorts. And it's not because they, oh my god, they reference the shorts kid. No, they didn't reference the Shorts kid. They are all the Shorts kids. It's literally the trainer class. Like, every time someone in a newer Pokemon game mentions Shorts, you always have fans freaking out like, oh my god, they referenced the meme. No, they didn't. The reason these kids keep talking about Shorts is the same reason hikers keep talking about hiking. It's literally their trainer class. Although I will admit there was one line in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that even I thought was a reference to this kid. It was on this specific route, and I thought it was like a line that the localizers added as like a self-aware kind of joke to lampshade the fact that they translated this kid's trainer class differently, and that's why the line makes so little sense in context. The line is basically, how dare you call me a youngster? I'm a Shorts boy. And for the longest time, I thought that was like, you know, like I said, the localizers lampshading this trainer class name change. But it turns out he says pretty much the same thing in Japanese, except, once again, it sounds totally different in the context of that language. In Japanese, he says, how dare you call me a Shorts brat? You fucking troll. Okay, now it's revenge for... I'm taking revenge on your species for trolling me so hard in the last episode. Okay, there you go, you're dead. So yeah, back to what I was saying earlier. In the Japanese version, that kid says something along the lines of, you call me a Shorts brat? That's rude. Call me a Shorts boy. So in the Japanese version, he pretty much says the same thing as in English, except it comes across totally different. In Japanese, he just basically says you're rude for calling him a brat, while in the English version, they like changed Shorts brat to its English equivalent, but didn't change Shorts boy accordingly. So it's just kind of, I guess, a better way to get the same point across that the Japanese version says in English would be like, how dare you call me a youngster, I'm a teenager, or something like that. Which, teenager is actually what they're called in the German version, by the way. Speaking of the German version, he says, this Shorts kid says something totally different in the German version, although still related to Shorts. And, actually, you know what? It can attack me. It can attack me, so I might as well use this to train up Nidoran. Yeah, that's a thing in Generation 1, where even cocoons and Transills owned by trainers will never know any attacking moves. They only know the moves that they learn, that they know in the wild as these Pokemon, and not the moves that their pre-evolutions learn. So yeah, in the German version, that kid says something like, there's nettles everywhere and I'm wearing shorts. This sucks, or something like that. I guess the reason they changed that is because they wanted to give this kid more of a reason to suddenly bring up shorts, because they realized how weird his Japanese and English line sounds without the context the Japanese version gives. I don't know, or maybe they just decided to rewrite it for the hell of it, although the German version of Pokemon never really does that too much, so I'm thinking I may be onto something with my theory there. So yeah, this whole thing about the shorts brat is something that I really wanted to get off my chest, because I'm tired of constantly hearing, they reference the meme every time shorts are brought up, even when that's not the case at all. So if I could finish the fight with this Transil here, he used Harden again, because that's the only thing this useless piece of shit can do. And there we go. Defeated. Another bug catcher. Oh yeah, the PC box system. The Generation 1 PC box system. What technology is truly incredible. Ugh, I hate it. Anyway, take a look at what this guy says. Hey, you're not wearing shorts. What's wrong with you? Oh my god, they mentioned the shorts, kid. They referenced the meme. Game Freak are time travelers confirmed. They can reference a meme within the same game that spawns it before it even becomes a meme. See how stupid this is? They have two characters on the same route that are both youngsters, that both talk about shorts, because that's the defining feature of this trainer class. That's the game's way of introducing you to this trainer class. On the route where they first appear, they talk about shorts. That's how this works. And just like the other guy, this guy says something different in German, and they kind of try to, like, tie them together. Why is it not attacking me? I keep missing, and it's... It probably could have killed me. Yeah, the AI is definitely not the brightest in this game. So yeah, the second shorts guy in German says like, I told my brother to go wear shorts. So yeah, the implication is that those two are brothers and that one of them is pissed because he got stung by nettles. And the other guy is the asshole that made him wear shorts in the first place, and they kind of tie them together. I kind of like what they did there, I'm not gonna lie. I've said in a previous episode that I wanted to talk about the translation of Team Rocket, because, well, among fans of the Japanese version, the translation Rocket Gang seems to be more popular, and I used to be like, who cares? You know, they both work. They're both legitimate translations. Neither one of them is, like, wrong. So for the longest time, I called them Team Rocket, and Team Aqua, and Team Magma, and Team whatever. But then came Generation 7, and they had Team Skull. And Team Skull is a gang. I don't care what anyone says, I'm calling them the Skull Gang. And if I'm calling them the Skull Gang, then I gotta call all the others gangs too, because consistency. So while this is by no means a big deal and not something I'm gonna be like, oh my god, Nintendo of America ruined it by calling them teams, what were they thinking? No, it really doesn't matter, but for the purposes of this LP, I'm gonna be calling them the Rocket Gang, because I prefer it that way, and most people who are into the Japanese version of the anime prefer that as well, considering most fan subs use that translation, so, you know what? Get used to it, I'm calling them that. Just be glad I'm not going full weeb and calling them Rocket Dan untranslated like a lot of people do. You know, Rocket Dan! Blasting off again up here alone. Okay, sorry for that. I'm just gonna go and take care of this transfer right here. Yeah. It's gonna take a while. But I want to train up my Nidoran and not just, you know, blast through everything with Fushigibana. And I'm the red, I think 2 more. Yeah, 1 more. Another one. Okay, there we go. Level 13. Defeated another bug catcher. Got 110 yen. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up right here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you then.